Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cleveland Sports Bros podcast. I'm Matt alongside my brother Nick. Nick, how's it going today?
Great, ready to talk about Cleveland sports. We got a lot going on, especially with Guardians and the Cavaliers.
Yep, we're looking forward to bringing our fans some of these updates. I'm sure everyone's aware of the Cavs by this point, but we'll talk about them in a second. Let's start with I keep saying the Red Hot Guardians. Nick, what do you have for us?
Well, I don't think there's a problem with saying that because that's the way they've been playing. They have a 6-game win streak. Uh, that's longer than they've had at all last year. And the only downside to that is so do the Red Hot Royals, who are a game and a half out of first place. Cleveland has not faced the second place Royals. They will in about 10 days. So we'll see where everything is there. But they've really been playing well, home and away.
Yeah, they have, and their run differential is better than the Guardians as well. I know this is not the only metric, but it's one that I like to use at least. So they're definitely going to be a good opponent, and I don't think they're going to go away anytime soon. So the guards are going to have to take care of business when they play them and see if they can at least take 2 out of 3, if not sweep them. But Nick, what about the most recent couple of series for the guards?
Well, they played the last 6 games in Cleveland and they swept the homestand, winning all 6 games, 3 against the division rivals Minnesota Twins, and the other 3 against National League East New York Mets. And the familiar face from that team is former Indian and Guardian Francisco Lindor, who I'm sure everyone was excited to see play, whether they attended the game or watched from home. I particularly watched very closely how he batted and he fielded. He didn't have a hot bat, thankfully, against us. He did end up with 1 RBI, 2+ hits, but in the end, when it comes to power, Jose Ramirez outpowered him with 1 home run and 4 RBIs. So that was good to see. I kind of, throughout the 3-game series, made a nice little comparison.
Yeah, it was good to see him back. He's, I think, a really great player and helped produce a lot of great memories. From the World Series run, from the 22-game win streak, plus many, many more. Was he ever actually on the Guardians or just the Indians? Just
Yeah,
curious.
I think you're right. It was just Indians.
Yeah, it was because when they played the Mets recently, I couldn't believe how long ago it actually was that he was traded. So for me, it was just kind of like, wow, I can't believe he'd been gone that long. But hey, as much as we might like Francisco Lindor, it was good to see the guards walk away with the sweep, and hoping they can carry that momentum out in out in Los Angeles and Colorado.
Yeah, definitely. On paper, those are 2 teams that I would expect Cleveland to play very well against, especially Colorado. But real quick, before we're digging into that series, I want to make a point in the final game of the series against the Mets. Tristan McKenzie started that game and surrendered 3 solo home runs, but Cleveland scored 6 unanswered that allowed them to take the sweep. And Andreas Jimenez, who we acquired in the Lindor trade, had an impactful game time home run. And then the Guardians just took over there from there to win it 6-3. But diving back into the upcoming series, playing the Angels tonight, I always hate the West Coast times. It's 9:38 p.m. My gosh. But I, I think they have a good chance. They already played the Angels once this season and took 2 out of 3. Remember, Mike Trout is gone for the year, and of course, Otani is now on the Dodgers. So, what do you think of the matchup?
Yeah, it's look, it's easy to say they should sweep them, that they are a better team, but it's tough going out west for anyone who's ever traveled. And you just know that, and being away from home and staying in a hotel and things like that. But it's not like the Angels are a terrible team or anything like that. I think the bats should probably continue to stay fairly hot. It to me it might be a matter of pitching, which it just seems like yes, the bullpen especially has been really great. But can our starters get at least 5, 6 solid innings? I think that'll go a long way if they can. So I expect them to do well. I expect them to win the series. I don't know about a sweep. And the same thing with Colorado. That the Guards should really, I think, do well with them. But again, even though it's baseball and you're not running up and down as much, you always hear about altitude and things like that. It's not like basketball or football where it can maybe have a larger impact. But the ball is probably going to travel farther and things like that. So, pitching is going to matter too. We're going to have to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Yeah, and before we move on to the Cavaliers, I want to point out, so as mentioned before, on a nice 6-game win streak, but so were the Kansas City Royals. So we have not been able to gain more than a game and a half uh, of first place ground. We will face the Royals in Cleveland for the first time on June 4th, and really, in between the Rockies and the Angels, and then the less important, I'm sorry, Wizards, the Washington uh, Nationals. Uh, we got 3 series before we face Kansas City, but that's the big one starting June 4th against the Royals that everyone has their eye on.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been such a fun season, but I feel like in any other year, they'd be 5 games up at this point. But the Kansas City seems to, at least for me, seemingly come out of nowhere. And the Twins are certainly still hanging around. And I don't think we can count Detroit out just yet. And that is still early. But yeah, huge series upcoming. Don't want to look ahead too far, but go out west and back east and take care of business on the road. Maybe win at least 6 games, or I'd say at least 5 or 6 of those games, right? Just keep the momentum up and take care of business at home against one of your division rivals.
Yeah, so let's move on to the Cavaliers. As Matt mentioned, everyone knows by now what uh, you know, being eliminated by the Celtics in 6 games, and 8 days later, uh, Coach JB Bickerstaff was fired after coaching for 5 years in Cleveland. And I think it's, I, I think it was maybe about 50-50 of expectance, at least from the fans that I spoke to. Uh, what were you surprised by that move, and what do you think comes next?
I wasn't all that surprised. Like I said, it seemed about 50-50. The question I have is, okay, are they going to be able to get someone better? Because he seemed to actually be a good coach, and they had success, and they improved from. I think they improved every year, pretty much, since when he started and took over mid-season. About what was it, 4.5, 5 seasons ago? And he, uh, look, I don't know enough about the X's and O's of basketball to kind of make a determination, but I've heard a lot of people say a lot of good things about JB, and I imagine maybe not right away, but I imagine he'll be picked up by some other NBA team. I hope he does because he seems like a good coach. Again, maybe it just wasn't a great fit for what the organization was wanting to do, and unfortunately, that's the business side of things. So I don't know if I could I don't know where to cast the blame. So to me, it's unless you think you have a much clearer, better option for what the organization wants to do, it's tough for me to kind of make that decision to want to let him go. So we'll see. and who knows? Hope if he lands another job, uh, I guess we can make that determination if they go head to head against Cavs or anything like that. But it sounds like he's really well respected in the league, and we'll probably get an assistant coaching job again, if not head coach job again. So yeah, tough for me to say if that was the right move or not, but definitely wish him well. And we'll see where the Cavs go because we want to see them succeed too. And there's a lot of big question marks this offseason.
Yeah, and a point I would make is, whether it's coaching players, whatever the topic is, I've heard rumors that uh, Donovan Mitchell wants to play in Cleveland. I know a lot of fans are concerned, are they gonna get a deal done? Are they gonna let Mitchell make some decisions? You know, will Mobley, will Allen be here next year? Will Garland be here next year? I, Mobley's expected to be kept, but there's rumors of moving on from Allen, Garland, or even both. Who knows what's to come? So uh, we're all just gonna wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see, and we'll definitely bring an update at some point once they have a new hire. We'll, I'm sure, be talking guards as well in the next episode. But Nick, anything else on the Cavs, or you want to move on real quick to the Browns?
Nope, let's cover some rounds. So yeah,
Yeah, they started OTAs
yesterday.
just yesterday,
Mhm.
and I haven't heard all that much from it. But Nick, you tell us about how Deshaun Watson is looking and what kind of activity he has at OTAs.
So I've heard Stefanski is having Watson do every other day throwing sessions. So they say he's been able to throw the ball downfield really well, and you would almost think that nothing had happened. Again, media is not allowed to be present at the OTAs yet, and this is the very early part of getting back in the swing of things, for so to speak, for football. No major drills, no pads, and this being every other day for Watson to be making throws. We'll see how it goes, and I think you know, ever since we traded for him, and now after going through all three drafts of not having a first round pick, um, fans want him to succeed, and we're we now have the schedule in front of us. We're gonna face the Dallas Cowboys on September 8th. It'll be the first time in forever that I can think of the Browns start a season at home. So that'll be exciting. We don't have much more than that on the Browns right now, but what do you think?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to bring, and maybe this will wait till closer to the season starts, but we'll have to give our opinion on the win-loss record of the schedule. I think it probably makes sense to wait because who knows what can happen in between now and then. Um, but yeah, they definitely, at least in terms of last year's records, have very tough schedule ahead of them. I think it was the toughest, according to
Mhm.
something I read and saw. And heard. So yeah, it's not going to be easy. It's never going to be easy in the NFL. So it's going to be a tough year. And look, I think Stefanski has done a great job, but we'll see what happens with him in play calling, if Ken Dorsey takes over play calling or not. I guess I'm interested in seeing that. But yeah, not much else to report on the Browns right now, but looking forward to the season after the summer.
Yeah, one final point is I love that. I, I don't know if this can change. it can work. I love that they have 4 primetime games scheduled.
Yeah, and I don't know if some of those are flexed or could be flexed out or not, but they could certainly be flexed into more, I think, the way I see it. So look, if they have a good year and get off to a good start, they might even be more primetime games. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. They have seemed to do pretty well primetime recently, at least. So if the players and coaches for whatever reason can have a better performance, I'm all for it. So all right, everyone, thank you again for listening. You've been listening to the Cleveland Sports Pros podcast.